Welcome back, y'all. This is Straw Hat Squeaks, and today we are going to jump into some OP TCG sim where I'm going to be playing Rush Zoro, and we have a juicy matchup today against Doflamingo, one of the hottest OP-01 decks that we've kind of seen starting to arise here in our English meta, where we didn't see it nearly as much in Japan during their release, but it's really started to take over by storm. They have a lot of card recursion, a lot of event playing, and more blockers than you can count on one hand. So will we be able to get our rushers through there and take it home, or will they bounce everything back and crush us to defeat? Stay tuned and find out. All right, we're going to jump into a game here, and let's see what we've got. We'll just host it. We'll let someone else join us. That's usually the easiest way. All right, we've already got somebody. Okay, looks like we're going to play Doflamingo. And they're going to go first. So we are going to mulligan this hand. Not bad. Robin, Nami, good way to start. We do have the Luffy on 2. So we've got our turn 2 and turn 1 plays. Not bad. Diable Jumble isn't the greatest in this matchup. It might be decent to close because they do have a lot of blockers, but not quite probably the card we'd want in our opening hand. Now they are going to start here with this Perona. They're going to look at the top 5. Stack them up so that they can use Doflamingo's ability here on their next turn. We don't have much to do here. We're just going to drop the Luffy and turn. It's our best turn 2 play. And then we'll start our turn 2 with Swinging Zoro. So now here they do get the boa out, really strong start, and we are going to just take this first one. We have no trigger here, so we are going to pass on that. It's going to go into our turn. So now our number 1 goal here is to get that boa off the board before it becomes unrested. And so we're not going to be able to probably do our Nami Robin play that we wanted to do. Actually, we could greed this. We could greed this because we have the Otama, that we could get rid of the boa. Our biggest issue would be a Martial D Teach or something like that would cause us to lose the Robin. So I think to start, we're going to try to blow a counter out of their hand, and maybe we can get 2 counters out of their hand and still stick the Robin. I think that's our best bet to trying to get rid of this boa off the board. Blowing 2 counters and a Teach to save this boa if that's what they want to go with. So first we are going to jam down the Robin, give the 2 Don to the Luffy, swing it in there on the boa for 5,000, leave our 1 Don up because we do still want to play that Nami this turn, get a little more card advantage, hopefully find maybe a Chopper or something like that. So we actually got 2 Mihawks out of that on 5,000 swings, 2,000 counter Mihawk, so we did get the advantage there. We're going to do this. We could grab this Jet Pistol here, actually. Gum Gum Red Hawk's really good in this matchup as well. But I'm going to go ahead and grab the Jet Pistol, because then we know we can deal with the boa regardless. The biggest drawback to this deck for us is boa drawing him cards, things like that. That's what we don't want. So we need to get this off the board as quickly as possible. And this is the most efficient way to doing that. Now, of course, we are going to do the Otama combo with Robin on boa if the option's there. But I would expect to see something like a Teach come down here to actually bounce our Robin back to our hand. So we're kind of just waiting to see. He's thinking it's on 5. Probably wanted to use Doflamingo's ability this turn. Probably doesn't have a Martial D Teach set up on it. Looks like he is going to Doflamingo anyways. Is going to swing into the top and just put out... Oh, actually, he swings into our Luffy here. So we are just going to take that. That's not a big deal. And then he actually puts out Mihawk here. So he's sitting on 2 Don active with a Mihawk rested. This is actually going to give us the ability to pop the boa and potentially the Mihawk off this Robin attack. We are going to give it the additional little bit of juice there from the Zoro, and then we are going to discount that boa. So now it's just, do we want to swing an additional, force him to waste 2,000 counter? Our play this turn, we'd actually like to play Sanji and Chopper, so we probably don't want to waste another Don. We can always just swing the Zoro. So we're going to do that, pop the boa. 1,000, if he 2,000 blocks, it's no big deal. So actually Love Beam countered there, so stopped it regardless. So the extra wouldn't have even helped us. Zoro onto Mihawk. We'll see if we can force another 2,000 counter out of him to save this. And if so, that's not that big of a deal. Mihawk isn't really doing much, and we managed to get it. So now we actually have really strong board state. We have board positional advantage. We're going to drop this Sanji and the Chopper, And with having 4,000 counter in hand, I actually feel really strong about potentially being able to keep this Robin alive. His most common play here is going to be to attach 2 Don to that Doflamingo, to the Doflamingo, swing in, and that'd be 7,000 on Robin, which 2,000 counter. So he's actually not even going to do that. We're just going to go the 2,000, protect it, and he teached Chopper, which really doesn't do much. It's only 1 Don, so he paid 4 to bounce 1. That's really, really inefficient. He would have been better off just bouncing the Robin altogether or bouncing Sanji or something that actually matters to the board state. So now he's actually in a situation where he's got to commit to this Robin, and now we can 2,000 it again. He's going to lose his Perona, and yeah, now this is where we really take over the game here. And hopefully can kind of run him down. So we don't even want to have to attack into this. We could swing the Nami, but we don't have to here. So we are going to play Chopper, and we probably save Jet Pistol. So we'll do this to save the swing there, because we might actually take Nami to face here. So we do just want to attrition his counters out of his hand, so those are cards that he's not playing. So we are going to do this swing here. And then maybe we'll load up a few Don. I guess we could Jet Pistol. I really don't like that, though, if we get in a situation where he drops Boa with a Don. That's just our easiest removal for it. I'd rather save it. Chopper will block the Teach. We could always save the Vivi to counter. I guess it depends how bad we want to keep this Robin alive. I don't think we have to keep it alive. I don't think he would bounce the Nami here, so I'm just going to swing in 6,000 on this Doflamingo. I don't think he would ever bounce that with an overheat or anything like that, so he doesn't bounce it. We're actually just going to load up this Nami and swing that in for 8,000, so this way he has to take another one. And then we are just going to drop this Chopper and head into his turn. So we could have played Vivi there, maybe even bounced our Otama out, but a lot of people don't anticipate you actually attacking with the Otama, so they just kind of leave it there, and that can actually be one of our better closers. Just jam like 7 or 8 Don on it, swing for, 8 to 9,000 with the Don on Zoro, and actually close out the game with Otama. And so let's see here, is he just going to go 4 for 4 on Robin? That's extremely greedy. We are going to do the Vivi there, because now if he doesn't have a way to bounce that Chopper, we actually keep Robin alive for another turn. And so we're just going to Chopper that in there. Now he's going to have to find a way to either restand or bounce or something. And there's the Boa, which we've saved the Jet Pistol for this whole time. Now we didn't save it for double Boa, but he can only don one of them. So we can actually just, he didn't don either. So he has a counter in hand, a 1 cost counter, you have to assume. But this is actually extremely advantageous for us. We're going to bait it out. We want to bait 1 so that he thinks he has both left. And so we are going to attach here, swing, and we are going to go into this. I attached the 1. We don't have an ability target, but we just want to force it to where he either has to use a Boa or he has to use some kind of counter. So there, we saved it, no big deal. And so now we have a lot of Don to use here. We could Gordon this Diable Jumbo out of hand, but at this point we're starting to get to the threshold where we may just need this to close the game. So I'm actually going to go 6 and 7. This way a 2,000 counter won't stop us either, and he'll have to make the judgment call of, do I want to use a Boa? Do I want to use a 2,000 plus a 1,000, or do I want to use my 1 unrested Don to actually potentially do something here? And it looks like he's just going to take. So now we're really approaching the danger zone of closing this game. We're going to do the same tactic there. We're going to go 7 onto face and see if we can actually get this one. Now we've got to be careful with the Don here because we do want to nail one of those Boas. But isn't super crucial. So we got the 2,000 there off the Alvita. Will we actually get an additional 1,000? We do. So we managed to get a blocker as well. That's really, really strong. I don't think we have to commit any more Don here, but we could get one of these Boa. This is on attack as well. So we really don't want him to draw the card, and both of these could swing. So I think we just have to commit the Jet Pistol here, take out one of them, and pass turn with 1 Don active. So the Don could be showing something like a guard point, which we don't run, but maybe he'll anticipate and try to play around a guard point or something like that. We do have a card that, obviously we haven't played since the start of the game. Maybe a little better Don management could have been done there, potentially calculated out a little earlier. That would have been smart. I'd kind of anticipated that one of those Boa would get used as a blocker, so then we would just Jet Pistol the other one, and that Dom wouldn't have really became a factor. But now we do have to kind of account for that additional card draw here. And however, if he does swing it, we are in a situation where that Boa won't be a blocker in this coming turn. We probably will have the ability to push through just with Otama and Zoro. So I anticipate that he's actually not going to swing this Boa. He's just going to don it up and wait for us to swing into him. Let's see what we got here. So we are doing the Perona right now. We are placing the cards on top of the deck, getting ready to set up for another Doflamingo swing. 7,000. I anticipate this is going to go onto the Robin, and it will succeed. We only have a 2,000 counter in hand, so we won't be able to stop it. But it's one of those situations where at this point, I don't think we really need to stop it. We just need to keep the Otama and the Nami alive. Those two attackers plus our Zoro will be able to actually get through. And we don't have to do it in one turn. We do still have 4 life left. So we have quite a lot of options available in terms of closing this game out. It doesn't have to be in one turn. And because we have the Diable Jumble, to get through any amount of blockers, we really only need to get one of these life to go through on this turn. And so that's why I'm not nearly as worried about keeping Sanji or Robin alive, but more so just concerned with maintaining the board state of being able to send one attacker through that's going to be able to for sure secure one of the life off of our opponent. So taking quite a long time here on the placement of the cards, maybe just really trying to think out, is there an option to getting out of this situation? So we do see the attack with Boa here. It is 6,000 to 4, so we're still not going to block it. Did want to draw that extra card apparently off of that. Is going to have the ability now to Doflamingo with 2 and kill Sanji, which was still the goal overall, is to get both of those off the board. So it didn't really matter the sequencing. The end result should be the same for the opponent, and they will go up to 5 cards in hand, and then in addition have that 1 card that they're going to get out of the deck. Looks like they are going to go for the Doflamingo blocker, which will allow them on play to again set 5 cards, setting up for the future turn. So the top card they'll put on there will be the one they draw, and then the next one will be the one that they pull out with Doflamingo next turn. So they're going to look for whatever they want to pull out to be the second card in the stack. But at this point, I don't think we're really concerned with either of those since they're tapped out. We're really looking for whatever the last 5 of these Don are going to be, and will they be a blocker? We could anticipate seeing like a Pacifista here, maybe another Doflamingo, potentially another Boa, although I believe we're at 3 already in the deck. So we are going to go no blocker there. We are going to let this attack resolve, take it off the board, and then we'll see what those remaining 5 down are going to pay for. They could also just keep them up and available to see. Okay, so they have them available. So at this point, we're swinging through. We don't need to close the game here. And I don't know what those 5 cards are, but I actually think the best move here is to just go all in. Completely stack up, force them to blow every counter they have. And I know that this seems like a really odd line, but you'd have to sacrifice 10,000. So you're looking at double Love Beam here, plus an additional counter of 2,000, plus an additional counter of 1,000. So again, you need 10,000 counter here. And that's quite a lot to ask for. If they Love Beam here first, they wouldn't get the card draw as well off of double Love. So they could actually get 2 cards if they countered the 2,000, then the 4,000 Love draw, then the 4,000 Love draw. So that would be quite interesting if they're able to pull that sequencing off. But even that would still only be, you're looking at, okay, so we have an overheat here actually. So let's just start there. We have overheat, so that is 4,000. So they're going to stave this off. It looks like they're going to try to attempt to save this. Potentially bounce the Nami back. You're looking at Nami or Otama. Nami's going to give us an additional card. I don't think you'd really want to bounce that. Oh, it looks like they're going to bounce their own unit back, return their Perona to hand. So they actually want to reset, play their Perona, stack the 5 again, although they just stacked them off Doflamingo, so that's a little interesting. Not sure about that. Now we do see the Alvida come down here for 2,000. Another Love Beam at 15. So now we've got up to 15, so they're going to need an additional counter on top, and it was that Perona, so there it was. They bounced their own Perona to get to that 16, stave it off, but they burn a lot of card power to do it. And at this point, there's not much they can do. They do have 2 blockers now, so we are in a little bit of a predicament with that, but it's really just not that crucial because at this point, again, how do they go through? Right, so we have the Crocodile here for Banish. Not that crazy. We're going to see the 3 on Doflamingo swing face. We're going to take a life. But eventually one of these is going to bust us through to a Rush Zoro, to potentially a Rush Luffy, or anything like that that can go through. 3 cards in hand, no Don available. So they're really relying on those 2 blockers now. We could actually stop this one. I think it's more advantageous to stop this Boa potentially. So we're going to take this one. We got the Nami that'll allow us to pick up our Rusher, hopefully. and see kind of what they do here. So we have double Nami now. So at this point, I think we just need to find... Right, there we go. So we actually have multiple options here. We could just Jet Pistol this Boa, keep him out of card draw. I think that's probably our strongest move. Or we could rush a Luffy here and not close this game yet. Now, they do have 4 attackers, so that is quite the predicament. They would have to Boa here, but they would get a card. Or we could Jet Pistol. If we Jet Pistol... I think we take the Jet Pistol here. We don't have to get through this turn. We keep them off the card draw. And then this will allow us to... 1, 2, 3. So we're going to go in 6,000. Force them a 2,000 counter here. Because we do want to clear board. We do want to make sure we don't throw this. Give them a chance to clear back. If they were to go face here, then we would just have the attackers left on board. So they gave us the life. So at that point, we are good to go. We stack up here. We don't want to play the other Nami at this point. We just want to save it as a counter, blow their counter. Now they can't get us through, and because they only have 2 attackers at this point. So now we've got the Diable Jumbo that we've held all the way since turn 1 in the game. We're going to be able to stack that up on the Zoro, go 15,000 to face. It'll actually be 14,000 to face because we have to pay the 1 for Jumbo, and then we're going to clear. So he is going to go for the Crocodile. I assume he's going to attack face, wants to get that banish off. We're not going to give him the banish, and at that point, I think we're pretty good. We're in a pretty good spot. He would need a lot of counters here. He would pretty much have to burn his whole hand to be able to withstand that. And he does have to take out this Nami here. So he has a blocker, starting to play down a lot of these cards that is taking counters out of his hand, which for us, as we know, we can get through these blockers. Obviously, they don't know that, but since we can get through these blockers, the more of these cards they're playing out of their hand right now that have counter on them, that's just even better for us. So at this point, we would love if just we would start dropping more and more blockers down. But we have to wait here, so we do have 5 left now. Since we haven't seen this Kuma yet, if we were to knock out this Kuma, they would be able to play a Pacifista with a cost of 4 or less from their hand. And that is, the 6,000 drop you could play. There is another blocker Pacifista that, funny enough, right here you go, that does have blocker. So played it out. So we only have 3 cards here. We're going to let this Nami go down, and we should be able to close out this game now. 3 cards, no down available. That means no love, no overheats, no anything crazy like that. At most, there could be 6,000 counter, plus 5,000 is 11,000. So we are going to attach on Zoro there. Diable Jumbo up. Attach all of our Dawn, and we'll be able to close this game out. And that's pretty much how this matchup goes. It's just a matter of attrition and making sure that we don't give the board state advantage to them, and we just continue to chip away at those prizes, and you win the game. So what do you think? Was that the best way that I could have played that? Should I have maybe played a little more aggressive there in the mid phase? I was a little bit nervous about all the additional counters, your loves, your overheats, things like that. I kind of always feel like taking and going for the board positioning against Doflamingo and Crocodile is the best way to take that. Essentially just attrition down their cards until they run out of steam. But let me know what you guys think. Would you have played that a little more aggressive, or would you have played it more kind of the slow and steady style that I did? Let me know in the comments section. And with that, I'll see y'all next time.